The harbor market buzzed with energy on that bright Saturday morning. Vendors shouted their daily specials while shoppers weaved between colorful stalls overflowing with fresh produce, handmade crafts, and aromatic baked goods. The air smelled like a mixture of cinnamon rolls, fresh flowers, and strong coffee. Nathan Rivers checked his phone for the third time in 5 minutes. His cousin Jessica had texted that she would be wearing a green jacket and carrying a canvas tote bag. She was visiting from Chicago. This was supposed to be their reunion after 2 years. The successful entrepreneur Nathan ran one of the fastest-growing technology companies in the city. At 32, he had already made his first million and was featured in business magazines regularly. But despite his success, he remained grounded. He preferred farmers' markets to fancy restaurants and valued genuine connections over networking events. Today, he wore simple jeans and a gray sweater, trying to blend in with the weekend crowd. The last thing he wanted was to be recognized and approached by aspiring entrepreneurs pitching their ideas between the apple stands. The fateful stake scanning the crowd. Nathan spotted exactly what he was looking for. A woman in a green jacket stood near the pottery booth, her back turned, holding a canvas tote bag. Her brown hair was pulled into a messy bun. She seemed absorbed in examining a handmade ceramic bowl. Without hesitation, Nathan rushed forward with open arms. He wrapped the woman in a bear hug from behind, lifting her slightly off the ground. "Jessica, you made it. I thought you might have gotten lost," he exclaimed with genuine excitement. The woman froze. Her entire body went rigid. Then, in one swift motion, she spun around with the force of a tornado. Nathan found himself staring into the face of a complete stranger. She had paint smudges on her cheek, startled hazel eyes, and an expression that quickly shifted from shock to fury. "An angry stranger, what on earth do you think you are doing?" the woman demanded, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. Nathan stumbled backward, nearly knocking over a display of honey jars. His face turned the color of a ripe tomato. "I am so sorry. I thought you were my cousin." She said she would be wearing a green jacket and carrying a canvas bag. The woman adjusted her jacket and glared at him with suspicion. "So you just grab random women from behind? That seems like a terrible way to greet anyone, cousin or not." "You are absolutely right. That was completely inappropriate. I got carried away with excitement." Nathan raised his hands in surrender, his expensive watch catching the sunlight. Sophie's perspective. Sophie Bennett had been having a difficult morning even before being ambushed by an over-enthusiastic stranger. She had woken up to discover her landlord had slipped an overdue rent notice under her door. Her art studio was basically a converted garage, and sales had been slow for months. Coming to the market was supposed to be a treat, a chance to find inspiration and maybe afford some fresh vegetables. Now she was being hugged by some guy who looked like he stepped out of a business magazine. His clothes were casual, but she could tell they were expensive. Everything about him screamed money, from his perfectly styled hair to his confident posture. "Look, mister, I get that you made a mistake, but you cannot just tackle people in public places. This is not a football game." Nathan noticed other shoppers starting to stare. An elderly woman with a walker had stopped to watch the scene unfold like it was street theater. "An unexpected apology, please. Let me make this right. Can I buy you a coffee? Or maybe one of those cinnamon rolls from the bakery stand? They smell incredible." Sophie crossed her arms, studying him carefully. There was something genuine in his embarrassment that made her anger soften slightly. He really did seem mortified by his mistake. "You think a cinnamon roll fixes everything?" "No, but it is a start. I am Nathan, by the way." He extended his hand formally, trying to salvage the situation. She hesitated before shaking it. "Sophie, and yes, I will take that cinnamon roll. Extra icing." Coffee and conversation, they walked to the small cafe area where picnic tables were set up under a large oak tree. Nathan returned with 2 enormous cinnamon rolls and 2 lattes. Sophie had to admit the pastry was worth the awkward encounter. "So, do you make a habit of attacking strangers at markets?" Sophie asked between bites, her tone lighter now. "This is actually my first time. I am hoping it will also be my last." Nathan smiled, and Sophie noticed he had a kind face when he was not looking terrified. What brings you here? Besides assaulting innocent shoppers, I was supposed to meet my cousin. She is visiting from out of town. And you? Sophie gestured to her canvas bag, which was now filled with small items. I come here for inspiration. I am an artist. The colors, the people, the energy of this place helps when I am stuck on a project. Nathan's eyes lit up with genuine interest. What kind of art do you create? Discovering common ground for the next hour, they talked like old friends. Sophie described her abstract paintings that focused on capturing emotions through color and texture. Nathan shared his frustration with the corporate world and his secret dream of collecting art someday. Most people think successful business means you have everything figured out, Nathan admitted. But honestly, I spend half my time wondering if I am doing anything meaningful. Sophie was surprised by his honesty. She had assumed he would be arrogant, but instead he seemed genuinely thoughtful. At least you can afford to wonder about meaning. Some of us are just trying to pay rent while doing what we love. Nathan looked at her seriously. I respect that more than you know. Pursuing art takes real courage. In unexpected offer as they finished their coffee, Nathan pulled out his phone. This might sound strange given how we met, but my company is hosting a charity event next month. We need someone to organize an art exhibition as part of it. Would you be interested? Sophie's eyes widened. Are you serious? Completely. I saw some of your work on your social media while we were talking. You are talented, Sophie. This could be good exposure for you, and we pay well. Sophie felt torn between excitement and suspicion. Was this a genuine opportunity, or just guilt talking? Let me think about it. Give me your contact information. They exchanged numbers, and as Nathan stood to leave, he smiled warmly. I really am sorry about the hug, but I am glad it happened. You are interesting, Sophie Bennett. She watched him disappear into the crowd, her mind racing with possibilities. What had started as the worst morning might have just turned into something unexpected. Sophie stared at Nathan's business card for 3 days straight. It sat on her cluttered work table, surrounded by paint tubes, brushes, and half-finished canvases. The card was simple, but elegant, just like him. Nathan Rivers, Chief Executive Officer, Horizon Tech Solutions. She had researched his company online. Horizon Tech was legitimate, successful, and well-respected. Nathan himself had been featured in several articles about young entrepreneurs who were changing the technology landscape. Everything checked out. Yet Sophie hesitated. Her best friend Chloe had a different perspective when she visited the studio on Tuesday evening. Sophie, are you insane? This man is offering you a paid opportunity to showcase your art at a major event. What exactly are you waiting for? Sophie mixed paint on her palette, creating swirls of deep blue and silver. It feels weird. We met because he basically tackled me at the farmer's market. Now he wants to hire me? What if people think I am using him? Chloe rolled her eyes dramatically. Or what if this is just a good opportunity that happened to come from an awkward meeting? Not everything has to be complicated. Making the call that night, Sophie finally texted Nathan. Her message was simple and professional. Hello, Nathan. I have thought about your offer. I would like to discuss the exhibition project. When would be a good time to meet? His response came within minutes. Tomorrow morning, my office at 9. We can discuss all the details over breakfast. Sophie agreed, though her stomach filled with nervous butterflies. She spent the evening selecting her most professional outfit, a navy blue dress and simple jewelry. She wanted to look capable, not like someone who desperately needed this job, even though she did. Horizon Tech Solutions occupied the top 3 floors of a modern glass building downtown. Sophie felt out of place the moment she stepped into the pristine lobby with its marble floors and contemporary art installations. The receptionist, a young woman with perfect makeup, directed her to the executive floor. Nathan's assistant, an efficient-looking man named Robert, greeted her warmly. Miss Bennett, Mr. Rivers is expecting you. Please, follow me. The executive suite was impressive, but not overwhelming. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered stunning views of the city. Nathan's office had minimalist furniture, several plants, and surprisingly, a small collection of paintings on one wall. Nathan stood when she entered, his professional smile, genuine and welcoming. He wore a sharp navy suit but had loosened his tie slightly, making him appear less formal. "Sophie, thank you for coming. Please sit. I ordered breakfast from that cafe you mentioned you liked." The business proposal over croissants and fresh fruit, Nathan outlined his vision. Horizon Tech was celebrating its 10th anniversary with a charity gala. The event would raise money for programs that taught technology skills to underprivileged youth. Nathan wanted an art exhibition as the centerpiece, featuring works that represented innovation, hope, and transformation. "I need someone who understands art but also understands people," Nathan explained, his enthusiasm evident. "When I talked to you at the market, I realized you see the world differently. That perspective is exactly what this event needs." Sophie listened carefully, taking notes. "What kind of budget are we discussing?" Nathan slid a folder across the desk. Sophie opened it and nearly dropped her coffee. The budget was more than she had made in the past 6 months combined. "This includes your fee for organizing everything, plus funds to commission pieces from local artists. I want this to be a platform for emerging talent, not just established names." Sophie felt her throat tighten with emotion. This was not just a job. This was an opportunity to help other struggling artists while showcasing her own work. "When would I start?" "Today, if possible. The event is in 6 weeks. I know it is tight, but I have confidence in you." Working together, Sophie accepted the position, and the following weeks became a whirlwind of activity. She worked from a small office on the same floor as Nathan, coordinating with artists, negotiating with galleries, and designing the exhibition layout. Nathan stopped by frequently, always with helpful suggestions or just to check on her progress. What surprised Sophie most was how easy he was to work with. He trusted her judgment and supported her creative decisions without micromanaging. They fell into a comfortable routine. Morning meetings over coffee, working lunches where they debated everything from art theory to their favorite movies, and occasional evening sessions when deadlines loomed. Growing closer one Thursday evening, they were alone in the office reviewing the final list of artists. Most employees had gone home, and the city lights sparkled through the windows like scattered diamonds. "This piece by Marcus Chen is powerful," Nathan said, pointing to a photograph on Sophie's laptop. "The way he captures urban isolation is haunting." Sophie nodded, impressed by his insight. "You have a good eye. Have you ever thought about collecting art seriously?" Nathan leaned back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. "I think about it. But honestly, I worry I would approach it like a business transaction, instead of appreciating it for what it is. Art should move you, not just increase in value." "That is exactly the right attitude," Sophie said softly. Their eyes met, and something shifted in the air between them. Nathan cleared his throat. "Can I ask you something personal?" "Sure. Why did you almost turn down this opportunity?" "Robert told me you hesitated for days before responding." Sophie put down her pen, considering her answer carefully. "I was scared. Scared people would think I did not earn it. Scared of failing? Scared of getting close to someone who lives in a completely different world than mine, and now? Now I am still scared, but I am glad I took the chance." Nathan reached across the table, his hand stopping just short of hers. "For what it is worth, you have exceeded every expectation. This exhibition is going to be incredible because of your vision." The office gossip. What Sophie did not realize was that their growing closeness had not gone unnoticed. Victoria Hartley, Nathan's business partner and the company's chief financial officer, had been watching with increasing concern. Victoria was brilliant, ambitious, and protective of the company she had helped build. She cornered Sophie one afternoon in the break room. "Miss Bennett, may I have a word?" Sophie turned from the coffee machine, surprised by Victoria's cold tone. "Of course. I want to be direct. You have been here 3 weeks, and you have more access to Nathan than executives who have worked here for years. People are talking." Sophie felt her cheeks flush. "I am just doing my job. Are you?" "Because from where I stand, it looks like you are using your personal connection with our CEO to advance your career. That is not fair. I have worked hard on this exhibition." Victoria's expression softened slightly, but her words remained sharp. "I am sure you have. But in the business world, perception matters. Nathan is brilliant, but he can be naive about people's intentions. I would hate to see him hurt or the company's reputation damaged. Sophie left the break room shaken. She had been so focused on the work and her growing feelings for Nathan that she had not considered how others might interpret their relationship confronting reality that evening. Sophie found Nathan still at his desk, reviewing financial reports. She knocked on his open door. "Do you have a minute?" He looked up, immediately noticing her troubled expression. What happened? Sophie closed the door and sat down. "Victoria confronted me today. She thinks people are gossiping about us." Nathan's jaw tightened. "What did she say?" "That I am using my connection with you. That people are questioning my qualifications." He stood abruptly, anger flashing in his eyes. "That is ridiculous. You have proven yourself 10 times over." "Have I?" "Nathan, be honest. Would you have hired me if we had not met the way we did?" The question hung in the air between them. Nathan walked to the window, his back to her. "Probably not," he admitted quietly. "But that does not mean you did not earn this position. The circumstances of how we met do not change your talent or your work ethic." Sophie stood, wrapping her arms around herself. "Maybe I should step back. We can find someone else to finish the exhibition." Nathan turned quickly. "No, absolutely not. Do not let office politics rob you of this achievement. It is not just about the job anymore, is it?" Sophie said, her voice barely above a whisper. A moment of truth. Nathan closed the distance between them in 3 steps. He stopped inches away, his eyes searching hers. "No, it is not just about the job. I have not been able to stop thinking about you since that ridiculous hug at the market. You are talented, passionate, and you challenge me to see the world differently. But I have been trying to keep things professional because I did not want to make you uncomfortable or give anyone ammunition to discredit your work." Sophie's heart pounded. "I feel the same way. But this is complicated, Nathan. You are my boss. The power dynamic alone makes this questionable."
Ellie.
"So what do we do?" Before Sophie could answer, Nathan's phone buzzed with an urgent message. He glanced at it and sighed. "The board meeting has been moved up. I have to prepare." Sophie nodded, grateful for the interruption. "We should both think about this carefully." As she gathered her things to leave, Nathan caught her hand gently. "Whatever we decide, I want you to know that you belong here. You earned this opportunity, Sophie. Do not let anyone make you doubt that." The late-night realization. Sophie walked home through the cool evening air, her mind spinning. She had come so far in just a few weeks. The exhibition was taking shape beautifully, featuring 12 emerging artists whose work deserved recognition. She had networked with gallery owners, negotiated contracts, and proved she could handle a major project. But underneath the professional success was something more complicated. She had developed feelings for Nathan that went far beyond gratitude or attraction. She respected his mind, admired his values, and felt completely herself around him, back in her studio apartment. Sophie opened her laptop and reviewed the exhibition plans. Every detail reflected her vision, her choices, her hard work. Victoria's words echoed in her mind, but so did Nathan's assurance. She deserved to be here. The question was whether she could stay and protect both her professional reputation and her growing feelings for the man who had accidentally changed her life. Her phone chimed with a text from Nathan. "You for being honest tonight? Whatever happens, I am glad that green jacket led me to you." Sophie smiled despite her confusion and replied simply, "Me too." The following Monday morning arrived with unexpected tension. Sophie entered the office to find several employees whispering near the coffee station. They stopped abruptly when they saw her, offering forced smiles before dispersing quickly. Sophie's stomach knotted. She had experienced workplace gossip before, but this felt different. More personal. More cruel. In her office, she found an anonymous note tucked under her keyboard. The message was typed and brief. "Sleeping your way to the top is easier than actual talent. Some of us worked years for opportunities you got in weeks." Sophie crumpled the paper, her hands shaking with anger and hurt. She had poured her heart into this exhibition. Every artist selection, every placement decision, Every tiny detail had been carefully considered. Yet someone believed her success was unearned. Victoria's ultimatum before Sophie could process the note. Victoria appeared in her doorway. The older woman's expression was unreadable, professional, yet somehow threatening. "Miss Bennett, we need to discuss the exhibition budget. There are some concerns from the board." Sophie straightened her shoulders, refusing to be intimidated. "What concerns?" "Everything is within the approved budget Nathan provided." Victoria entered and closed the door behind her. "The concerns are not about numbers. They are about judgment. Several board members question whether Nathan's personal interest in you has clouded his professional decisions. My work speaks for itself, does it? You are a relatively unknown artist with limited experience in event management. Yet you are leading a high-profile company event. Can you understand how that appears?" Sophie felt tears threatening but refused to let them fall. "What do you want from me, Victoria?" The older woman's expression softened slightly, revealing something that might have been sympathy. "I want to protect this company. Nathan is brilliant, but sometimes too trusting. If this exhibition fails, or if rumors about your relationship damage his credibility, it affects everyone here. So you want me to quit? I want you to consider what is best for everyone involved, including yourself. You are talented, Sophie, but maybe this opportunity came too soon, under circumstances that will always be questioned." Nathan's defense after Victoria left, Sophie sat in stunned silence. Part of her recognized the logic in Victoria's words. Another part burned with fury at the injustice of being judged. Not for her work, but for circumstances beyond her control. Her phone buzzed. Nathan was calling. "My office." "Now please." His tone was clipped, angry. Sophie made her way to his executive suite, where she found him pacing like a caged animal. Robert, his assistant, gave her a sympathetic look before closing the door behind her. "Victoria told me about your conversation," Nathan said immediately. "She had no right to pressure you like that. She's protecting the company." "Maybe she is right." Nathan stopped pacing and stared at her. "Right about what?" Sophie took a deep breath, forcing herself to say words that hurt. "Maybe I should resign. We can bring in someone else to finish the exhibition. Someone whose credentials will not be questioned." "Absolutely not." "Nathan, be reasonable. This situation is affecting your professional reputation. The board is questioning your judgment. How can I stay knowing that?" He moved closer, his expression intense. "Because walking away proves them right. It says you did not earn this position, that you were running because you cannot handle the pressure. Is that really what you want?" "I want to stop feeling like I have to justify my existence here every single day." Sophie's voice cracked. "I want to create art without wondering if people think I slept with a boss to get here. I want to look at you without feeling guilty about it." The honest conversation, Nathan's anger dissolved into something softer. He gestured to the chairs by his window. "Sit, please." They sat facing each other, the city sprawling below them through the glass. Nathan leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. "I have been handling this all wrong. I hired you because I saw talent and potential. But I also hired you because I was attracted to you, and I have been lying to myself about keeping those things separate." Sophie appreciated his honesty. "I accepted because I needed the job, but I stayed because I started having feelings for you. Real feelings that complicate everything. So what do? Because I refuse to let you quit. The exhibition is 5 days away, and it is magnificent. You created something meaningful, Sophie. Artists are getting opportunities they never would have had. The charity will raise significant funds. That matters more than office gossip. But what happens after the exhibition? Do I stay? Do we pretend there is nothing between us? Do we risk everything by admitting there is?" Nathan stood and walked to his desk, returning with a folder. "I have been thinking about this constantly. Here's my proposal." The radical solution. Sophie opened the folder to find a detailed business plan. Her eyes widened as she read. "You want to create a separate arts foundation?" Nathan nodded enthusiastically. "Funded by Horizon Tech, but operating independently? You would run it, selecting artists, organizing exhibitions, providing grants. You would have complete creative control and a legitimate position that no one can question." This is incredible, but it does not solve our immediate problem. Actually, it does. If the board approves this at tomorrow's meeting, you would transition from temporary event coordinator to foundation director after the gala. Different department, different reporting structure. You would not work directly for me anymore. Sophie felt hope blooming in her chest, but forced herself to be practical. And if the board does not approve it, then I will fund it personally. Sophie, I believe in this vision. I believe in you. Not because of how we met or what I feel for you, but because you have shown me what is possible when you invest in real talent. The exhibition opening the night of the charity gala arrived with perfect weather and high expectations. The venue, a converted warehouse space, had been transformed into an elegant gallery. Sophie's careful curation shone in every corner. 12 emerging artists had their work displayed beautifully. Marcus Chen's photographs of urban isolation. Priya Patel's sculptures made from recycled materials. Jerome Washington's paintings exploring cultural identity. Each piece told a story, and together they created a powerful narrative about innovation, struggle, and hope. Sophie wore a simple black dress she had found at a consignment shop, but carried herself with confidence earned through hard work. She greeted guests, explained artistic choices, and watched with satisfaction as people engaged deeply with the art. Nathan worked the room in his element, charming donors and board members while regularly glancing Sophie's way. Their eyes met across the crowded space multiple times, its unspoken communication flowing between them. Victoria approached Sophie midway through the evening. The older woman's expression had shifted from hostility to something resembling respect. "This is impressive work, Miss Bennett. The board has been responding very positively. Thank you. That means a lot coming from you." Victoria hesitated before continuing. "I owe you an apology. I let my protective instincts toward Nathan and the company cloud my judgment about your abilities. This exhibition proves you earned your position." Sophie felt vindication wash over her, but kept her response gracious. "I appreciate you saying that. I understand you were looking out for the company's interests. Still, I was unfair. For what it is worth, I voted to approve the Arts Foundation proposal. You will make it something special." The grand gesture as the evening wound down and final donations were tallied. Nathan took the stage to make closing remarks. The event had exceeded fundraising goals by 40%. He thanked the artists, the volunteers, and the generous donors. Then he did something unexpected. "Before we close tonight, I want to acknowledge someone whose vision made this possible." Sophie Bennett took a chance on an opportunity that came from the most unlikely circumstances. She faced skepticism and doubt, but never wavered in her commitment to these artists and this cause. Sophie felt every eye in the room turned toward her. Her cheeks flushed. "Sophie showed me that real talent does not need perfect credentials or connections. It needs opportunity and someone willing to believe in it. Tonight's success is her success. And I am honored to announce that she will be leading our new Arts Innovation Foundation, which will continue this important work." The room erupted in applause. Artists surrounded Sophie with gratitude and excitement. Gallery owners handed her business cards. Everything she had worked for was coming together. The rooftop confession. After. The last guests departed and the cleanup crew began their work. Nathan found Sophie on the building's rooftop terrace. She stood at the railing, looking at the city lights and processing the overwhelming evening. "You disappeared," he said softly, joining her at the railing. "I needed a moment to breathe. Tonight was incredible. You were incredible. I meant every word I said in there." Sophie turned to face him. "The foundation is a dream come true, but I need to know something. If we pursue this, whatever this is between us, will you always wonder if people think you are giving me special treatment?" Nathan considered the question carefully. "Honestly, probably sometimes. But I would rather deal with occasional doubts than live with the regret of not taking this chance. You make me want to be better, Sophie. Not just professionally, but as a person. I feel the same way. You saw potential in me when I could barely see it myself." He reached for her hand, and this time she did not pull away. "So what do you say? Can we try this? Carefully, honestly, but actually try?" Sophie smiled, feeling lighter than she had in weeks. I think that green jacket was the luckiest piece of clothing I ever owned. Nathan laughed and pulled her closer. And I am grateful for my terrible eyesight and tendency to hug strangers. Their kiss was different from the brief moment in his car weeks ago. This one held promise and possibility. It tasted like new beginnings and hard-won victories. 6 months later, the Arts Innovation Foundation occupied a sunny loft space in the creative district. Sophie's office walls displayed rotating works from the artists she mentored. The foundation had already awarded 15 grants and organized 3 successful exhibitions. Nathan visited regularly, sometimes for foundation business, but mostly just to see Sophie. Their relationship had grown steadily, built on mutual respect and genuine affection. Office gossip had faded, replaced by admiration for what Sophie accomplished. One afternoon, Nathan arrived with lunch and a mischievous smile. "I have a surprise for you." "Another one. You just funded that printmaking workshop. This is personal, not professional." He handed her an envelope. Inside were 2 tickets to Chicago. "My cousin Jessica is getting married next month. I thought we could go together. Properly this time, no mistaken identity involved." Sophie laughed at the memory of their chaotic first meeting. "Will there be a farmer's market?" "Probably. But I promise to check faces before hugging anyone." She kissed him softly. "Deal, though honestly I would not change how we met. That awkward hug led to everything good in my life right now." Nathan pulled her close, marveling at how a simple mistake had brought such unexpected joy. Sometimes the best things in life came from the moments that seemed most embarrassing, most impossible, most unlikely to succeed. Love, like art, did not need perfect circumstances. It just needed 2 people willing to take a chance, work through challenges, and believe in something bigger than themselves. The green jacket still hung in Sophie's closet, a reminder that fate sometimes worked in wonderfully messy ways. The end.